Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at Nathan Thompson again and seeing if his comedic skills are on par with Owen Benjamin or if he's actually funny. He's making a list in the style of Jeff Foxworthy's You Might Be a Redneck, and unlike Jeff Foxworthy, who was funny sometimes, this just gets sadder and sadder. I can't imagine what his penmanship looks like. I'm honestly surprised that he's not writing this list in crayon.
So, if you think boats go over a curve, but you can zoom in on them and see them again, you might be a globehead.
Yeah, but then what? Once the boat's brought back into frame with a super zoom lens, and then it keeps getting farther away and eventually disappears bottom up, will it come back into frame again with more zoom? No. Once it goes over the curve, it can't be brought back. Same thing happens with the sun and the moon.
If you think Earth spins and the atmosphere moves with the Earth, you might be a globehead.
That's the result of friction from gravity pulling the molecules in the atmosphere to the surface of the Earth.
If you think space is real because the government told you they went there, you might be a globehead.
That's more plausible than a glass dome holding back heavenly waters. Also, there's that thing called evidence. Where's the evidence that we live in a snow globe?
If you think Neil deGrasse Tyson is the savior of gravity because he dropped a microphone, you might be a globehead.
The savior of gravity? Savior would imply danger. The existence of gravity isn't in danger just because a bunch of high school dropouts refuse to believe it exists. Gravity exists, and I'm sure your mental condition is a result of you being repeatedly dropped on your head as a baby. You know, because of gravity.
If you think dinosaurs are real and giant lizards roam the earth, but giants in the Bible are absolutely crazy and ridiculous, you might be a globehead.
The difference here is that we've found fossilized dinosaurs. Where's the fossilized giants? Or unicorns? Or dragons?
If you think metal boxes fall in circles, you might be a globehead.
If you think that's a good question, you might not understand orbits.
If you vaccinate your kids, you are most certainly a globehead. Okay?
He's an anti-vaxxer too? Shocking.
If you think the Earth's a pear or an oblate spheroid, you might be a globehead.
Yeah, because Alex Jones told me the Earth is flat.
If you think the floor is tilted 66.6 degrees, you might be a globehead.
What?
If you think the speed of light has been measured and it's 670 million miles an hour, you might be a globehead.
You're presupposing that light exists.
If you think planets are balls of gas in a vacuum, but the definition of vacuum is the absence of gas pressure, you're probably one of those globeheads.
Well, they're not just made of gas. They're made out of other stuff too. Because gravity exists, and the vacuum of space does not suck.
If you think astronauts drowning in space is no big deal, you're probably one of those globeheads.
Astronauts don't drown in space. They come close, but they don't drown in space. And certainly not for the reason you think.
If you think picking up something heavy and dropping it is proof everything in space is being pulled together, you might be a globehead.
Are you reminiscing about your childhood again, Nathan?
If you believe in aliens, you might be a globehead.
Yeah, because believing in the existence of aliens is crazy, says the guy who believes in a big glass dome, burning bushes, global floods, people being created from a rib, and giants.
If you believe anything you see in the mainstream news, you might be a globehead. If you vote, you might be a globehead.
While I agree with the sentiment, neither of these actions have anything to do with the shape of the Earth.
If you think the Earth has a molten core, you might be a globehead.
Or you might be a geologist.
If you stand in line for Star Wars, you might be a globehead.
Or you might just be a fan of Star Wars.
If you think snipers account for the spin of the Earth, but helicopters, hot air balloons, airplanes, smoke, insects, and balls we throw in the air are not affected, you might be a globehead.
Ah, yes, Coriolis. You know, Bob the Science Guy did a video explaining the minuscule effect that Coriolis has on bullets and the speed at which they travel. You should check it out. It's pretty good.
If you think the sun is moving 500,000 miles an hour, you might be a globehead.
Guilty, I guess. The speed of the sun doesn't really affect me, so I don't really think about it too much.
If you think all the materials and energy in the universe came from nothing and then that exploded, you're probably a globehead.
That's a particularly funny one, considering this is what you think happened. Let me get my best Charlton Heston voice out. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, and it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, not a glass dome. Anyway, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear," and it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw it was good. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed it is in itself upon the earth," and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seeds after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind, and God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And on, and on, and on, and on in some ridiculous... It doesn't even make any sense. At least, there's evidence that the Big Bang happened. That's called the cosmic background radiation. That's evidence. One piece of evidence. There is not one piece of evidence that any of that gobbledygook ever happened, except for the Bible, which is interesting, that it's the only thing on the earth that says that that's what happened.
If you think clouds being lit from underneath prove we're on a ball and that the sun is 90 million miles away, most certainly a globehead.
The distance of the sun has nothing to do with that. What that proves is the angle of the setting sun going over the curve can make a shadow cast by a mountain onto the bottom of clouds.
If you think NASA meaning deceive in Hebrew is just coincidence, you might be a globehead.
That's not what it means. And even if it did mean that, who gives a shit? Just because it's Hebrew doesn't make it any more right than any other language. I'm sure there's a language out there where idiot is translated as Nathan.
If you think astronauts train for the vacuum of space in pools, you might be a globehead.
Yeah, they do. It's called a neutral buoyancy tank.
If you spend all your free time trolling flat earth channels on YouTube, but don't test anything yourself, you most certainly are a globehead.
Yep, guilty as charged. I have been known to troll a flat earth page or two in my day. I actually joined Nathan's page one day and told him straight up, I'm not a flat earther, but I can talk respectfully to flat earthers about the shape of the earth, and he let me join, or somebody let me join. And over the span of about 10 hours, I talked to several flat earthers and ended up getting kicked from the page, and it all resulted in having the worst migraine I've ever had in my life. It's just a word of warning for any of you who are thinking about joining a flat earth page to try to discuss things with them. It physically hurts your brain, turning off as many brain cells as you have to lower yourself to their level so that you can talk to them.
If you think scientists predict things on a globe model, but they don't even have a 3-mass equation, you might be a globehead.
Okay.
If someone asks for proof of Earth curve and you bring up raindrops, you might be a globehead.
You must be talking about the responses you get when you say Earth doesn't curve because water doesn't curve, and all bodies of water are flat and stupid whatever. Well, raindrops do curve, waves curve, lots of things curve. And a lake isn't a large body of water. Not when it's compared to the oceans.
If you tell someone they're mentally disabled, but not in a nice way, or insult someone, but you can't spell your correctly, you might be a globehead.
Anyone who's spent any time whatsoever in a comment section or a chat or Facebook posts or whatever talking to flat earthers knows they also suffer from that inability. That is not a globe head or a flat earther specific thing. Lots of people have problems with that for whatever reason. It's not hard, but I think it's laziness. I think it's stupidity. I think it's just stupidity, basically. Well, that about wraps it up for Nathan and his scribbled list of stupid. What did you guys think? Did you think he was as funny or funnier than Owen Benjamin? Personally, I think he was exactly as funny as Owen Benjamin. And that is to say, not funny at all. Here's one for you, Nathan. If you think we live in a snow globe based on a few obscure passages in a 2,000-year-old book of fairy tales, you might be an idiot. If you like the video and you like my content and would like to see more of them, give the video a like and the channel a subscribe, and make sure to come back next time. And until then, as always, have a good day.